So wait a second, you're telling me that we can play Final Fight, one of the best beat 'em ups of all time, and Strider, and Knights of the Round? This is the whole reason I bought Big Blue. And they're on this, a Countercade? Well, not exactly, not an Arcade1up Countercade. But on this Countercade, which is all new. For me, I'm only used to Arcade1up Countercades. This Countercade has some different features. We're gonna open this up, an unboxing, a full-on review for today's video. Been looking forward to doing this. Now there are a couple of different styles, and I'll tell you why I went with the one I did. So there's two different Countercades, and there's the Mega Man Bartop, which is currently showing out temporary out of stock, and then the Street Fighter 2 Big Blue. Now I'll get into why I went with one over the other. The games lists are different for both Countercades, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to call it a Countercade or a Bartop, but here are the 6 games included with the Big Blue Street Fighter 2. And the 6 games included with the Mega Man. Notice the difference? There's more beat 'em ups on here. Sit back and find out if the Evercade Alpha is for you, or if you're like me, before looking at this, you're more of an Arcade1up guy when it comes to Countercades. I mean, the main thing with me in this channel is having something from each home arcade. So we can take all of that and kind of compare it. So this is my first Evercade, my first brand of an Evercade. There's other features with this that I'm not going to be able to do in this video, and I'll get to some of those other features. But primarily, being a big fan of Countercades, we'll see if this matches up. First comes the unboxing, and we'll get a first-hand look how this was packed up. So let's take off the top, and there we have the Alpha Evercade with the Capcom. Pull this right out. At least they double boxed it. So, you know, it was ordered on Amazon. I actually pre-ordered it, and yeah, I went with the Mega Man because of the beat 'em ups. 6 built-in Capcom games, including Mega Man 2, of course, Final Fight, Strider. I had to spin this around to the back side because there was only 3 games on the front. The other 3, Mega Man the Power Battle, Carrier Airwayne, which I have no idea, I've never played this game, and Knights of the Round, one of my favorite beat 'em ups. And this right here is why I went with this style Countercade. Now, I do like the Big Blue. Having the Big Blue, having Knights of the Round, I thought this maybe gives me an alternative to, if I ever had to part with a cabinet, at least I'd have this one. And the reason I didn't get the Big Blue look is because it didn't have the beat 'em ups. It was more of a fighting cabinet. Some of the features, built-in Wi-Fi, which, you know, I'm excited about that. We'll see what that really involves. Stereo speakers, of course the 6 built-in games, a 3.5mm headphone jack, a light-up marquee, which with the new Arcade1ups, there's no light-up marquees. So the ones that I have, the marquees light up, 8-inch high-resolution IPS screen, and competition-graded arcade controls. I never had really an issue with the sticks, but the buttons, hopefully they're better than these. And a couple of quick shots from the other side of the box, and a final look at the other side of the box. So very strong Mega Man vibes here. You're gonna have the Mega Man artwork all over this cabinet. Now this is great if you're in a small place or you don't want to take up a lot of room with, you know, like a 3/4 scale size arcade. I always like to say that these are perfect for an actual, you know, a bar, and that's why they call it the bar top. I got a bad habit that I call it Countercades. Got a nice handle. This is very similar to the Arcade1up box. So here's both of them. And I mean, as you can see, I mean, my opinion, this looks better. I love this look. This is exactly how my Big Blue is. And if you have the Big Blue, you know, there's a special look to that. This is all Mega Man, but I am a beat 'em up guy. This is a fighting cabinet. So it's kind of, do you want the look or do you want the games? And I decided to go with the games. You can also put cartridges in here, and kind of in the intro, kind of hinted that there's things we're not going to be able to do. I don't have any cartridges, so I'm focused on playing it this way. So this is why I bought it. We can change out the marquees. We'll see if we need a tool or if it just kind of slides in there. I guess we'll kind of play around with this. There is some directions here. So the swappable marquee, I'm not seeing that any tools are necessary. So we probably might luck out and not need any assembly whatsoever. Rip the seal. Oh, it's the marquees. Okay. Okay, so here is Strider. Final Fight. So there's three marquees. Mega Man's in there. I want to go with Final Fight so bad. Like this is I don't know how it's gonna look with the Mega Man, but you know, I didn't get the Arcade1up Final Fight. Now I kind of have it. So we have a USB. We have the wall plug. And I'm not really sure what this is. Maybe this is for different regions, so we'll have to see what plug works. Like, yeah, look at these. So yeah, depending on where you live, you know, I'll end up putting this one on. And the foam, some good protection in here. And you can see right in here, the Countercade Bartop just sits, and I can, just from eyeballing the buttons, they're definitely a step up. So also, I think the back of this is going to be all black. I had to say something about not needing tools. I can already see that taking off that film is going to be it's going to be a little bit of a project. Here's how underneath the bar top looks. So we'll loosen up the screws, and that will be able to pull this away. Now what I'm afraid of is you're going to still see some under here. There are screw cap covers, so we're going to need something to knock that off so we can get down there. I kind of heard something now after seeing this, that we're going to kind of have to dismantle the entire control deck to get at there. You can see the sides do have those screw cap covers as well. So, you know, there's probably some future mods we can do with this, but just to rip off the plastic, we're going to have to go all in. So actually, when you take these screws out, you can totally move this out of the way and just kind of look underneath here how everything is, giving us some room to work with so I can just have a clean rip and nothing left over underneath. And look, all fairness, you have to do the same thing for an Arcade1up. Don't think that I didn't have to take the control panel back to remove any of the other films on any Countercades I've ever bought. So it's the same thing. So I'm used to this. I'm going to come back and put those caps on here, but let's take a look at this. We have a nice bezel here, Mega Man themed. I'll still see what's going on here with that marquee, and check this out. The speakers are on the side. So on an Arcade1up Countercade, they're on the bottom, and on a 3/4 scale, they're either on the control deck, depending on what gen it is, or on top. So we'll see how that goes. That the speakers are on the side. There's a nice look of Mega Man. And check this out. The back side, it's all black. Usually at Arcade1up, I'm trying to think iArcade, what color it is on the back. I don't think anything I have is all black. So definitely a step up. And you look on the bottom, the on-off, you have the volume, and you can put the carts right here. Put your finger in here, kind of pull this out, it kind of bows, and then that will just pop right out. And then there is the Mega Man. So this looks good. Very glossy. Backside, pretty much your typical marquee. And there's the back side. All this looks pretty familiar, you know, with the way the light would work. And then I imagine there's some film on here that you're going to put this over it, and it should peel off and look like what we're seeing now. And that's exactly what's going on here. So yeah, night and day difference. Get a sample of how all of the marquees look. So you just kind of put that notch in there, and I guess you could leave that without, but it's going to kind of come out. So this plastic piece is just going to, you know, kind of keep it in there. And I don't know if there's a front or a back. Kind of look and see if it's bowing out. That goes in there. Kind of bend it, and there's the marquee. It's gonna, see that? It's gonna stick out just a little bit, But of course, I don't think we're going to be standing this high unless we're Shaquille O'Neal playing this. So you're not really going to see it. More of a better look here. It does kind of bother me how that kind of bows though. And there is a lock and an open, so you just line it up and it just kind of came right in there. So I just went in and it's that easy. I just wanted to make sure it fired up before I put these caps back on, because taking them off, taking them on, you know, they're not meant for that. So just be kind of careful. You don't want to really gouge anything, but yeah, it does sound pretty good with those speakers on the side. The controller is not included. It does say that on the box. And then here's your headphone jack. And you know, a way to get 2 players is just plugging in a controller. I don't like this idea. I mean, we're looking at an 8-inch screen. I never played that, you know, with the Arcade1up. There's where I would have put a controller. So the difference is you have the 2 players. This is the 1 player, and the controller goes here. Turn off the lights while this is updating and take a look. I like it. So if I move further back, will it wash out? A little bit. So on camera, it might look like this during, if I have this behind me during like a live stream, it might kind of wash out just like what we saw. But otherwise, it looks good in person. The room's lit up. It's not gonna lighten up. So maybe that's just the way the camera picked it up in the dark. It doesn't look that bad. It's a little washed, you know, but I've seen a lot worse. Okay, Strider looks a little more washed out than how Mega Man looked, especially with the darker colors, with the lights off. A little washed. I'm worried about Final Fight because I had intentions of leaving Final Fight up. There will be a film on every marquee. Here's Final Fight. It does look washed out. I don't have that plastic piece over it. I'm just gonna go back and just leave Mega Man. Mega Man looks the best because there's no dark colors and it doesn't look as washed out as we're getting this. Mega Man fits better. Final Fight did not really want to get in here. There's a little notch that sits in here. So Mega Man it is. A little disappointed in that. I bought this primarily for the beat 'em ups and to have the Final Fight marquee because I don't have a Final Fight cabinet, but it looks like Mega Man's gonna win this battle, the power battle. Now you're not gonna have one of those plexi deck protectors like you have with one of these, so the coating on here, it's straight up artwork. There's no rigid edge. Sometimes I've ran into parts where, you know, the wrist is kind of getting a little shredded there. Pretty comfortable right here. I love the joystick. This is a lot. I mean, it's night and day. Something really cool is you saw 3 players on here. There's a way to get 3 players on here by getting 2 more controls. So imagine 3 people hovered around this Bartop. I want to say Countercade. So pretty cool that this is completely arcade accurate. My issue with the Arcade1up is it's a 2-player. So a legit 3-player game, it's going to work on this. So kind of compensating for the disappointment I have with that marquee, more happy about this, having all 3 players right on here. Look at this, all 3 players. This is cool. I mean, the monitor, there's no bad angle. It's perfect. So, you know, all that going for us to get out of this. Just hit the menu, and then this will prompt. We can go down to quit, hit the A button, back to the main menu. I'm gonna hit back again to see if I can get into, we have Final Fight, we have Carrier Airwing, Mega Man 2, and Strider. So one of the Mega Mans was, you know, the Power Battle. It's kind of hard to see. There it is, Power Battle, and then Mega Man 2. And it's gonna shake. Now this is on a kind of a little booster. I put it on another box, but yeah, I kind of anticipate this kind of shaking around a little bit on you because you know, it's not the biggest. I can tell you this is playing really good, and the controls are better. Now this is by far not perfect, but I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the gameplay, with the monitor and the controls. Very responsive. And just to check out some options here, you know, if the question of, is there scan lines? And I am not seeing anything here. We can edit the controls. We can play in competition mode, but I don't see, you know, coin limit off. So we can keep continuing, which is great. I don't see any option for scan lines. Now, I'm not sure what, you know, having online, being connected, you know, via internet is really going to do here besides system updates, because we can't play online. Of course, I can go right here to settings. We'll see if there's display. Well, we can do pixel perfect full screen. Okay, I was wrong. There's scan lines. So yeah, bunch of different options, and I do have scan lines off. So okay, I kind of eat my words there. As far as online games, huge miss. Like it'd be really cool to, you know, to play Knights of the Round, which we'll get into right now. 3 players. So this answers my question. I was thinking, okay, if we bought 2 controls, we could get the 3 players here. So unlike my Arcade1up, 3 players can come on here. This is very cool. So if we did have another controller or 2, yeah, we could get in there. Of course, one person's going to have to be on here. It's going to be tricky, but it is cool that we can get all 3 players on here. And from the most part here, this plays just like I'm familiar with. The only difference between what I have and this is I'm seeing a 3rd player. Usually it's only an option for a 2nd player. Yeah, it kind of has that same kind of skip to the next level. So yeah, pretty cool. Final Fight plays really good on here. It's a 2-player game, so if I had another controller, we could get a 2nd player on here. I always get it confused with having 3 players because there's 3 different characters we can choose on here, but Final Fight is a 2-player game. The screen looks a little darker from what I'm used to on the Arcade1up. But if anything's going to be more arcade accurate, it's probably going to be on the Evercade. And as far as coining up here, I think we can just add. Maybe not. Maybe we have to wait till continue. I could keep going in Knights of the Round. See if he whistles here for his backup. Yep, there we go. I could keep adding credits to Knights of the Round. I don't think I can do that on the Big Blue. So if I'm going to continue here, we're going to have to do it every time. Very similar to another Capcom game, Punisher. But yeah, this plays good. Okay, so kind of a side shooter, and I'm gonna have to press it. You can't hold it down. Kind of a good bonus game. Kind of accommodate the Mega Man and of course the Capcom beat 'em ups. It's a true Capcom machine. I mean, that's for sure. Like if you've got any legacy cabinets, you're gonna have your fighters, your beat 'em ups, and then one shooter, and this is the shooter. Get a couple of measurements. Stands just under 17 inches high, 10 1/8, 10 1/4 inches wide. It comes out just under about 13 inches long. Very similar, you know, size-wise to an Arcade1up. If you're gonna play on the control deck, your hand's gonna kind of hang off, where the joystick is and pressing the buttons. And I guess it's pretty similar to how it would be on an Arcade1up as well, because we're about the same distance here that either one of my Countercades have. See, literally, it's the same thing. My hand's going to hang off here, player one, and with the buttons. So very close, if not the same, as far as the distance here with the buttons and joysticks. Actually, the buttons are a little bit further on the Evercade, but all in all, your hands are still going to hang off. Also, if you hit Y for demo, it will take you right to whatever game you're on and go through the track mode, watch a little bit of gameplay on here. Currently on Strider. Yeah, right to a level actually I've never played before. Well, being a big fan of an Arcade1up Countercade, I like this. I think it's a step up from an Arcade1up control-wise and the games list-wise. Like just having more on there. But for the price that I paid, I feel they could have added the controller. I did miss that in the unboxing. It clearly says controller's not included. And I'm not too happy with the marquee, but as far as the games, they played pretty good. Now, I don't have any cartridges to test out. I guess that's for another time. But I wanted to just kind of focus on comparing these two, and it's pretty close. You're gonna get a little bit more with the Evercade than an arcade one, an older Arcade1up. But with the two controls, these were pretty amazing. This one's got to beat a little bit, but there's things that they really need to improve on if they're going to release any more of these. Number one would be the marquee. I'm disappointed that, first of all, they washed out so bad. Second, they are bent. They were in an envelope, and that's why they don't sit so well. Mega Man was installed when we took it out of the box. So as bent as this is, that's why they don't really fit. So an improvement would be a better marquee to begin with. It's not going to wash out so much, and something that's going to protect it, because I mean, I'll never be able to get this to sit flat. But there are other games, and you know, there could be a lot more in the future what they can do with these. Plus we could get more different bar tops, more Capcom style bar tops. There's a ton of Capcom games, and this is just the beginning. So, you know, I like where they're going. There's things that they can improve, and maybe we'll get that, you know, the second wave. I want to thank everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next time. All in all, this is a space saver. So if you want to get a couple of these games, if you want to have another option, something to add, this is perfect. I thought that maybe I could replace one of my 3/4 scale cabinets by getting this. I could technically, but I don't think that it's going to really make up for losing, you know, almost a full-size cabinet for something that's not connected online. Otherwise, they did a good job with this. I mean, honestly, the controls are great. I like the games list. I like the fact that it's got 2 beat-em-up games that I purposely bought several cabinets for those titles. The only difference is those play online. They're bigger, and this one doesn't. It's smaller. So, pretty exciting though. Another company doing home arcades. We'll see what happens in the future.